Wow.
You're rolling. I mean, just double check.
Okay. So, Chip printed off what we have so far for our results. So you guys will have to do that. Obviously, that's not everything because this only has 226. And I don't know how many we have left to enter. So if we had entered all of ours, we'd know how many people did them online. But I don't have that number yet. Not till...
Okay. Yeah, we had a pretty good turnout though, didn't we?
We had 379 the night of the election.
And that's how many. And there's some that did take them, and they said they dropped them off. Hey, did you check the box here at all?
I don't know where the box is,
Either.
or if anybody's collecting them for us.
I know that Chip had told people at voting to either, like we had said, you drop them off in the box or the town office, and they know about it.
Yeah, he's got other stuff that he's doing. I could count these and tell you how many I entered.
Is this for me or for her? Oh, thanks. Yes. Like they. Majority of people did
15, and this is almost 20.
This pile.
Oh, here's the paper. That's cheap.
Is that pile too to do? Is that pile we have to do too?
So I'll get these done tonight before you go
There
to
was no
bed.
to
I don't know.
I need to copy our note.
Just
take a note.
So how many
Is it
are there?
Harvey? Is it Harvey? Harvey, right?
Miss Mel. How many were there?
15, if you want to just double check your number.
So 15 and 15?
No, I have a little more than 15.
Well, I'm just trying to get a kind
I'll
of a
recount
general
mine.
idea as to how many we
Yeah.
have. Like,
If you want to
total with
confirm
this.
that your number is 15.
Okay, I will. Yeah, 15.
That's 17.
You said I had 15 or 10?
15 if you want to
You know
just
how
double
many you
check.
got? 17, so that's 32. And that's all that we have left to put in? 32?
Nope, Peg's got 15, so there's
42,
62.
47. Right?
62 between the four of us.
Oh, Harvey has some too. So 62 and 226.
You did a great job. 15.
Is that what you have? 288 between these surveys and what's been
Yeah,
entered.
but that can't be right because we have 379 turned in at the voting.
What's those right? Oh, those are right there. Those all need to be put in too.
These have to be. She said shut up.
That's
Shut
why
up,
I
Deb.
wasn't.
She just goes like this, I shut up. Power of the voice.
This is 163 that I've entered.
Okay.
I wasn't saying I was saying just 1 second. These we have to vote on how we're gonna enter them.
Oh,
so that's
okay.
why they're right here.
Okay, we get you.
I didn't want to lose my place counting. I'm sorry. So I've entered 163 out of the 226. Okay, wait. How come it says total 217? Oh, because some people didn't answer that question, so I have to go with 226. So we've had 63 people take it online.
Done.
Plus our 379 will give us 442 total.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you back these,
Okay.
and then I'll take a bulk of these if you want.
Okay.
That way, we don't get mixed up with mixing them around.
I'll take more.
So why don't you give her back those, and those two can do those ones, and you and I will concentrate on this, and then Sarah can concentrate on this.
How many is that?
You now have 30, love.
I have 30.
Is that what that was like half, huh?
Alright, so Peg has 30, I have 32.
Good enough. Okay, so
So far we have 442. We'll have, once we get those figured in, 163 were already entered from the election. 63 were done online. So far, we're tracking a total of 226 is what we have results for. So if we go to question 1, do you support the need for a long-term plan for Lebanon? We had 87.1% of the survey say yes.
Fantastic.
12.9% said no. Out of those 226 total entries, 217 people answered that question. So we had some people skip that question. Question 2. Where's question 2?
The bottom of page 1. What is the one thing you would like to see for the future of Lebanon?
Oh, this was the one that we have to fill in the blank. So I guess that's why it's all in big words like that. So the choices were. Well, what does department mean?
Police, department, roads, business.
I think it just took the times the most words was Sandy Chip.
What is the one thing you would like to see for the future of Lebanon? So the larger the word is, the more responses that it got. But I would hope that Chip could break that down.
Yeah, I'm gonna see what he can do, because that doesn't make any sense to me. But police is the biggest word.
Police is the biggest one, and really,
but department is the smallest. So I don't know if this is just
development.
Right?
Smaller.
The code and the
is the smallest.
I see a
Alright,
code in the
Yeah. So what's up with this?
We're trying to
That's what
decipher.
so what this does is I can go through it, but this basically, what they're trying to show you is the biggest one is what was selected the most.
What's department?
police department.
Police, town, and road.
Yeah, I don't know whether there's. I mean, I'd have to look.
We'll
at
do a little bit more.
I can look at the results.
Yeah.
to give you
Yeah.
the
If we can
breakdown.
do a little bit more in-depth research on number 2, that would be fine.
Yeah.
But note
layout.
also that there was out of that 200 and something total, only 154 people.
See, because I can hear
Because
here
it was
show
a fill in the
responses.
blank.
See, I can hear that says show responses, and I'll see.
Okay, we'll wait. I
Let's
think
see
we
if
could
it-
wait
this is
until
just
we
kind
have
of-
all of these
Right.
Yeah.
inputted.
Right, and I know that there's more to go. That's why, but I wanted to give you a preview of what, and I can also export it to an Excel spreadsheet, which I've already done.
Yeah,
so
because it was all different words, so it
but
didn't
it's
tally.
hard. So some of that is hard to do.
Right, it would be hard to put them in a graph.
I know you had to run here and there, but I'll just catch up to speed. Based on the election and online, we have 442 total entry surveys. 63 online, 379 from the election.
63 online so far.
Mhm.
Not too bad.
Not bad.
I've entered 163, and everybody's kind of split up the rest. So some of the questions some people didn't answer. So right now our results are based on 226 total surveys. But like that first question by itself, only 217 had answered that question. And then it looks like only 154 filled in the blank.
I did see a lot of people are leaving that empty.
216 people answered question 3, which is what do you like best about Lebanon? Schools came in at 15.3% or 33 responses. Recreation 2.8% or 6 responses. Quality of life 27.3% or 59 responses. Natural environment 42.1%, 91
Was this a pick one?
responses. Yes,
Yeah.
pick one. Size was 9.3%, 20 responses, and local economy 3.2 at 7%. So quality of life took that one.
What was
So
that?
far.
I thought it was
Natural
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 environment.
environment. Took
natural
that one.
resources.
Natural.
No.
It says
natural
environment.
environment.
Is that what we did? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
That took that one, and that was 216 total people answered that question, and 91 selected natural environment. Question 4. What is one thing you'd like to change about Lebanon? Choose one.
This was almost like even Steven on everything.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Residential growth, 17.5%, 37 responses. Use of open spaces, 8.5%, 18 responses. Commercial development, 21.8%, 46 responses. Recreation, 7.1%, 15 responses. Cost of living 13.3%, 28 responses. Local economy 14.7%, 31 responses. And write-in other, there were 36 other responses, but I don't have.
We can't click to view it.
Well,
Don't mix up the video.
I'm okay, I think. I'm okay, I did this before.
But I still think commercial development was the most.
Alright, I'm not
46
gonna-
responses
Yeah,
and
21.
21%.
not gonna do it, but-
And when
What was the most things people wrote in?
Or if they want it.
That's what we're trying to find out right now.
What?
Did you see what people wrote in, some of them?
yeah.
He's gonna see if he can find out.
I can do it. Look, to one of these days, get a projector so that you can see, when you have a PowerPoint, you have things I could then project it and you could actually see, everybody could see it, that would be kind of nice, but.
Was that,
That's
that
on
day
that's
that
on my
DEP
Christmas wish
came?
list, anybody?
Was that day the DEP came, was that his?
That was a projector, right?
That was awesome.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
While we wait for that question, we can move on if you want.
No, I'll be right there.
Wait.
In a few
I have a
seconds.
white sheet, we could like hang it on the wall and.
So, what do you want? You want,
Are they categorized by top words again?
individual responses.
Yeah,
So
other.
what was this?
Question
Actually,
4?
let me just,
Yeah, question 4. The one thing you would change about Lebanon.
Let's go preview again, and then. So what's one thing you? So it's the. You want to know about the one thing that you'd like to see? 150 responses. Is this the one that had the big pictures? Like this, like what, number 2?
Question 4.
No, question
Question
4.
four.
I'm going back. I'm going back.
Question 2.
Okay.
You didn't know
question
about question 2.
2. Yeah,
So
Oh, the big numbers.
yeah.
there's only 158 total responses. 3 police, 3 better roads, 3 lower taxes. Oops, another one, better roads, lower tax.
Is it possible to put those in a pie chart format?
Yeah.
I mean, well, this is all write-in, so it's kind of hard to do. I mean, I'll tell you, the town manager to assist the selectmen, qualified and certified people in the town's government positions. That was another one. A highway department with its own equipment and managed correctly. A Lebanon police force we can be proud of. A centrally located town-owned fire station. A closer look at law enforcement, perhaps return to local. A comprehensive plan. Hey, I like that one.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Did you write that, Sarah?
I didn't.
A drugstore, low taxes.
Low taxes was written in on quite a few of them.
Yeah.
A much more organized board of selectmen, code enforcement officers. They need to be more open to the public and approachable.
Cool.
Uh, A street cleaner for sand cleanup after winter sanding.
We do need that.
We do need that.
A system
reuse that sand.
A system of town-owned lands dedicated to conservation. A town center, we need a common area to increase a spirit of community.
Community center, we're gonna start with that today.
Better code informant, better roads, building inspector to stay, business vitalization, let's see some new business come in. Cleaning, modernization of schools, commercial zoning, construction zoning and codes. So I mean, again, it's kind of all over the map. Freedom and liberty, there we go. That's broad.
Hey.
Growth. So that's that. 3 you guys already did. 4, what did you need?
4, it says other write-in.
There's what, 40 of
So
them?
it's click
36
to view, 36,
responses.
yeah. Well, I think some people might have done it online since then, cause.
So there's 3 lower taxes. 1 was all good.
Hey.
Anyone who heads a department should be voted in. No more lifetime contracts such as fire EMS chief, clean up trashy homes, conflicts of interest enforced, and no interest and non-interest, non-related parties sitting on boards and committees for fairness across the board, governance, highway department with equipment, improved road maintenance, lack of sense of community, Lebanon is rapidly growing, take care as to how and where, maybe having a fair to bring in cash for the town and residents. Rochester, New Hampshire did away with it. It's short term, but a few days, 1 week could be good for the local economy. Modern cooperation between departments, more cooperation between departments. Need a police department, rules and regs, stop medical marijuana businesses, that the town is fair to everyone and they get rid of the good old boys club, too much growth too fast, add a town manager, better roads, community building, have it own high school, Noble high school costs too much, inequality evaluation, lack of law enforcement, local government, low taxes, more town services, more zoning, centralized downtown, only on Route 202, police and real zoning, police station needed, reduce commercial development, should allow all business, no car sales, stop commercial residential development, taxes, too much trash around roads, transfer station always full, bins, that's it. Someone read all that down?
I wrote as much as I could, yeah.
She was going
going.
like crazy.
Yeah.
It's so good.
So, question 5. What are Lebanon's biggest challenges? Select all that apply. And it appears that roads blow this one out of the water at
I agree. Do I agree? And so does my vehicle. And my shovel.
Roads came in at 57.5% with 123 responses. Back up to the top, communications came in at 25.2, 54 responses. Law enforcement, 36.4, 78 responses.
Hold a second.
Law enforcement.
So right now we have
policy enforcers up in this town by the sounds of it.
crime rate is 21.5, 46 responses. Natural resources is 4.2 at 9 responses. Drugs, 34.6%, 74 responses. That's number 3.
Yep.
Conservation, 7.5%, 16 responses. Senior services, 21.5%, 46 responses. Community services, 17.8%, 38 responses. Traffic control, 7.9%, 17 responses. Commercial, residential zoning, 20.1%, 43 responses. So roads took that one at number 1 with 123 responses, 57.5%. Law enforcement.
This keeps changing, it's now 126 for roads.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
people
we're
are
going
taking
with what
it.
we got.
3 more people taking the survey. Nice.
Well, because they see us doing it. But yeah, look at senior services and crime rate exactly even.
Yeah, because I'm at 232 right now for total gone in this thing.
Yeah.
You are?
Yep.
This one.
So we've got about 6 more.
Have you entered any today?
I did enter some today.
So they may,
But they would-
remember how it takes, there's a lag, so I don't know.
It was
what-
earlier though.
Oh, was it?
Okay.
No, it's good, we're getting still people doing, that's good.
Number 6 is, the following is a list of objections which can be used to guide future growth of Lebanon. Please read the list and decide which are most important to you. Choose as many as you'd like.
And this one was a little bit, the written one was
Right.
different because I sent it to everybody and nobody picked up on it.
So did we
Nobody
make
read
that
it.
motion yet, or are we gonna do that
We're
later?
gonna do that. Let me
Okay.
get through this and then we'll make that motion to change that, okay? Maintaining a low level of environmental pollution that came in at 41.7% with 68 votes. Having access to open spaces, parks, green belts, woodland near residential areas came in at 45.4%, 74 votes,
Right.
responses. Expanding the variety and availability of retail goods and services in town was 26.4% with 43 responses. Improving personal security and public safety was 44.2% with 72 responses. Attracting businesses, 42.9%, 70 responses. Maintaining and enhancing the visual appearance of buildings and landscaping, 21.5%, 35 responses. Increasing education opportunities for all age groups, 35.6%, 58 responses. Restricting large-scale commercial growth to specific areas, 50.3%, 82 responses. That's our number one question. Building and maintaining livable neighborhoods, 24.5%, 40 responses. Encouraging sustainable region, 38%, 62 responses. That brought us to restricting large-scale commercial growth to specific areas at number 1. Improving personal security and public safety, number 2. And having access to open spaces, parks, greenbelts, woodland area near residential areas, number 3.
And currently those last two are reversed.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, it is on here too.
Open spaces is 78. I'm showing 78 responses.
Isn't this one higher than this one?
Yeah.
Safety and security is only 74.
Right. I got 74 and 72 on here.
On here it looks higher.
Well, he printed these earlier.
It does look
Yeah,
higher.
the blue one is
Yeah,
higher.
but see, this was number 2. And this was number 3.
Right.
By mistake.
Yeah, I'm doing really good tonight.
Okay. That's okay.
That's because I'm a slacker, apparently.
I am too.
That was a private joke.
That was an inside joke.
private joke.
You
I
guys
might have called to that yesterday.
Oh, salt in the wound.
You guys are right though, because the blue is taller, because that one is bigger.
I don't have my reading glasses, so I wasn't sure.
Wow.
Um,
Just like.
And number 7 is, what is your gender? And it looks like we were just about equal. 50.3% or 94 responses were male, and 49.7% or 93 were female.
That was perfect.
Can't get much better than that.
Age bracket, it looks like the majority was 51 to 65 at 37.4%, 71 responses, followed by 36 to 50. That was 23.2%, 44 responses. 26 to 35 years old is 8.4%, 16 responses, and 18 to 25, 3.2% at 6 responses.
My only thought on this one, at some point we probably ought to, whoever's doing the demographics for the inventory,
That would be me.
it would be nice to compare this to our demographic to see how we're doing with age groups, whether this is a close percentage-wise, a close representation
Right.
of what the town demographics are, or if we're missing an age bracket for some reason, whether it be young, seniors, whatever.
Once we finish that and I get
Right.
like the
You understand
final
what I'm asking?
report of that, yeah, I can get those numbers and we can kind of.
Oh, you guys, you gotta flip the page because there's 66. Yeah, we stop at 65. 66 and over was 27.9%, 53 responses. So that came in second.
Yeah, everybody's 51 to 65, yeah, and then either side of that.
Right.
So it's really
Interesting
26 to
dynamics.
35 is only
Well, it's interesting, well-
8%. So I mean, are we getting the younger?
Well, some of those kids could be in college, so they're not even here.
Well,
To take
26
this
to
test?
35 is only.
And a
8%,
lot of
so
those
I don't know
young
how
18
many-
to 25.
No, I'm going above
So we
that.
gotta
The
figure
next
out
one is only
how to
8%.
Look,
26 to 35?
I don't know how many are. I don't know how many are in town. If it's only 10% that we're doing okay.
That's when you start to care.
But if it's like
Right.
30%.
I bet there's a big, I bet a lot of kids that age, those people that don't vote,
I don't know.
period.
They probably don't vote, don't pay
They're not, don't
attention.
vote,
I mean, I'm 40 and
They're
I'm
busy.
barely starting to pay attention.
They're busy getting married, having their kids.
Doing the family thing.
We could always all go hang out at trains on
Wing
like,
night?
Wing night. Cause
Have a
that's
meeting
where
there?
the
That's
the
true.
younger
Well,
generation
again,
is not at
if we're
home.
missing a
We should,
demographic
like,
group,
you
then
know,
we have to figure out how to target.
So we're gonna create a posse and go around town.
So it appears
Comprehensive
that the
planning board
majority
posse.
It appears the majority of the folks that took the survey were 36 and older.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, I think that's what I'm asking.
But I think that's when you start to care about your community. I mean, when you're in your 20s, I don't think I would have cared about that in my 20s. I
don't think I
No,
would
that's what we were just saying.
Okay, question 9. Do you have children living in your household? If so, what are their age brackets? Select all that apply. No children takes the winner at 120 responses,
That's 'cause of the age.
65.6.
Oh, right.
Right. That's because of the age group.
Ages 0 to
That
5.
makes sense.
Yeah. Ages 0 to 5. 8.7%, 16 responses. 6 to 12. 13.7%, 25 responses, and 13 to 18, 17.5%, 32 responses.
Yeah, well, you have to get those younger people, some of them to take this.
What is your relationship with the town? Options were resident property owner was 177 responses at 93.2%. Non-resident property owners at 3.7%, 7 responses, and a renter, 3.2%, 6 responses. So, majority was property owners and residents. How long have you lived in Lebanon? 0 to 5 years, 16.3%, or 31 responses. 6 to 10 years was 11.6%, 22 responses. 11 to 20 years, 23.2%, 44 responses, and I'm missing the last one, Chip, because it's supposed to say
21 years plus is 48.7% or 95 responses as of right now.
okay.
For a total of 195 as of right now.
So not too bad.
Are you able to see how many surveys were taken for question 5, 6? Or am I missing it on this here?
Question 5?
Yeah, I don't see like under question 5 where it says totals. Nor do I see it for question 6 and 9.
Question 5 there. That's total value. Question 6.
Not that I'm doing that merit, but yeah, I'm doing
Maybe
that.
if we just add them up, right?
It doesn't. It may.
Yeah, I can. I was just.
Well, no, you can't, because it was choose all that apply, so they may have answered more than
Oh,
one.
that's
you know what
probably
I mean?
why
Do
you
that
can't get a
too.
total. Very
Right.
good,
Maybe that's-
Deborah.
Good
That
thing we
makes
talk it
total
out.
sense.
Good thing we talk it out.
Thanks, take it out, girls.
Good thing.
Does anybody have anything to add about the survey? Any comments?
I find it's kind of interesting to see what people think. I think it's really neat to
The
kind of
dynamics
get
are
people
great.
thinking.
Well, I mean, this is what really leads
1 to
us. I mean,
65.
it doesn't matter what I think.
I find it
It's-
interesting.
This is what leads, this committee to.
Looks like you're gonna be looking for a police chief.
That's me. Haven't voted in yet.
Can I
Wait till-
carry on?
that'll be a huge turnout. I think. Once
Yeah, I
your
bet
taxes
you're right.
go up. Whoa.
It's gotta pass first. That's gotta make a ballot first.
And I tell you, we got a call from a kid that the alarm went off, and it was a friend. We went there. We were there in 5 minutes from the time he called 911, and the three stadies pulled up 5 minutes behind us.
Good.
I mean, they were there like that. He thought someone was breaking into us because the alarm went off. So they're here. I'm out. I see them almost every day. Call stadium in town. So they're not
far
around.
They are
They're around.
not far.
Well, I
Little
mean,
peepers
and there's a little bit of a misconception that if you bring in more police, that the drug problem's gonna go
Right,
away.
right,
And that
right.
really-
Right.
And that really isn't the case.
No.
Right.
I mean, you can take a look at all the towns around us, they have full-time fire departments.
They still have the problem too.
They have just as much of a problem as we do, so,
No, they sure do.
so it's, but it may make you feel better.
Right. Right.
So,
I get an alarm system. That makes you feel better.
so I got a dog in my house.
There you go. That makes you feel
I have a
better.
gun.
We're going all different routes. What do you
I
got?
got I got a dog.
I got a couple of those with my dog, we're gonna.
I'm
The
not
dog is
knocking
the
it. You're doing it.
first offense is definitely the dog.
So there is one thing that we need to vote on tonight. On some of these surveys, because there was a mistake made, and when we proofread this
By a slacker.
by a slacker,
Sorry, Blanca.
Unbelievable.
there was a typo of some sort made on this survey. So some people took it in one way that said to number these in order of importance from 1 to 10. Some of them said select all that apply. I've separated them out. So then I need the committee's vote on how we want to handle the surveys that were numbered from 1 to 10. I feel we should select whichever ones they selected that were 1 through 5, because that would choose their top 5 important items. But I'm opening this up for discussion.
I agree. We skimmed kind of the ones that we had separate. Actually, we have them both back now, right? Both those files.
Yeah.
These are the ones that people had checked off, and just skimming them, they've checked between like 1 and 6 items.
So it's not like this.
Right.
So even if we were to take the
They
average,
may not have
we're
even
looking
ranked
at
them all right.
So if we take
right.
the top
So
5
if we take the
numbered
top 5,
Then that's obviously probably the most important.
we've got a good.
Yeah,
So
I
I'll make
agree.
that motion that
Second it.
when we plug them in, we
Okay.
do it like Sarah said.
So that's when whoever
Wait,
has.
say all in favor.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
So whoever has the that's 3 times tonight. Whoever has those surveys, just select the ones that are
First
numbered
5.
1
That's
through
Harvey
5.
and I.
Oh, did you hand out people to enter? Is that what you
Can we
did?
ask a
I
question?
gave the rest out. I entered 163 and I handed the rest
Can the
out.
true selectors
So
over here-
Harvey and I have.
What's she doing all weekend?
Harvey and
Tell ya.
I split the pile that.
Planning board
those
with your
numbered
husband.
Yeah. Actually, that was pretty short
Well,
last
Peggy
night.
and I, we're just, we're the true slackers over here. So our question is, if they've checked off 6, can we go with that same rule? We just check off 5?
But
If
how do we know
someone's
what
done
5?
8, oh, good question.
What?
We gotta do it all then.
Some people did check 6, so how do we do that?
Let me
Then
check
you're all
6.
set.
Let me see.
Like they checked
okay.
off 6
If it's
things.
most important and they did
They didn't
6
do
or
1 through
8.
6. They just checked 6 because they.
Yeah, those were checking.
4, 5.
So
Read the
these
that
question.
one got some.
Read the question. The question
These
might be
that
ranked
don't
all as
have
what are
numbers
important.
right here, you're selecting what they
Right,
chose.
right.
Yes,
But
some
some
of
of them
them,
checked
like this
6.
one, checked off
Didn't
6
write 1
boxes.
through 6. Checked 6 though.
We put
But
that
we-
as
That's
6
fine.
here.
What
we
we're-
don't know which one they didn't really want.
So this one here, we're gonna select the first one.
You're gonna choose all of them.
All 6.
You're gonna select everything that they marked off. Here's the difference.
Not us.
Okay,
So
we got it.
People
We
numbered
do it
them.
all.
No, we know that. We know that. But
They
say,
do 5, we
say,
do
No,
it all.
no.
say there's 6 just
No,
checked.
you're not hearing.
What's that?
Stop.
Do
Stop.
it all. We
Stop.
do it all.
Okay,
They
good.
do
No.
5.
Stop. You're missing the point. This will help.
Okay.
If you read the question, this was the
I
original
know
question.
exactly what you're saying.
This question wasn't that.
Right.
Correct.
But this is one check. Some of them
But this
checked.
question wasn't a ranking. So whatever's done here, you enter.
So if there's
If
6,
they
we
if
enter
they
6.
if they
They
did
checked
all
that we
if they did
entered.
That's
all
all
of
we're
them,
asking.
if they did all of
we
them, you
do it.
enter it.
That's what we're asking. That's
Yeah.
all we're asking.
They
Is that-
don't, we do.
Yeah.
They
Because
don't,
you don't
we
have
do.
any that have
Correct.
numbers on them.
You
Right.
got
That's
it.
what I was asking. How many
Why
we
do we
put
have
in?
to ask questions, Peg?
We should have just done
We
it.
should have just done it.
I knew that. I figured that's what they wanted to do, but I didn't. I want to make sure because there's no way we could figure out
Get us
5.
kicked off this.
Okay.
You sure you don't want it?
So that's
We're
done.
working hard. This is the funnest committee I sit on.
Oh,
I just
really?
wanna tell you guys, I really.
Really? I'm gonna tell my husband you said that. Oh,
Well,
you're
that's
not
okay,
on
I
his
don't sit
committee.
with him, so.
Oh, you're not. I keep forgetting. I always think you're on his committee, and he always tells me, "No, Deb's not on."
That's right.
But you're there
No.
sometimes.
Well, and he's been working crazy to help me with that swap shop, so that's why you see me talking to him, because
Are you
he's been
sure?
doing it. Well, he is cute, Peggy, but
Jim, where's our Dropbox for people to drop
Yeah.
in surveys?
How do we get into
Well,
it to
well,
figure out if we have
Is there
any?
surveys?
are
in
there
it?
surveys in it?
Well, they empty it every day, so they would
Oh.
we would have had them.
Oh.
They would have given to you?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to. I didn't ask Jenny this morning if she's got any, so she might.
Are you able to print off some surveys and drop them off at the restaurant, or shoot me an email and let me know, and I can come back and pick them up, so that anybody coming in, we can make sure that we have them on the counter, and if they're Lebanon residents,
Yeah.
I can
Yeah,
hammer
do they
them
not
down.
keep them on the counter here, or do they?
The surveys, no.
Okay.
How come?
It's too early. I'm slacking, man. I'm telling you. I gotta change over. We'll be doing newsletters. I mean, we can do them both.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you have like a small cardboard box and you want to dump in like 100, we can put up a thing, put it right by the register for people cashing out. And have you Lebanon resident? Have you done a survey? Done your survey? Have you done that yet? Not yet. Take a minute.
Can't wait until
Try to take a
Well,
minute.
the other thing is,
We're
you
not
Work
gonna
on
go like
it.
Phil.
Why are you
You're
having
not gonna
breakfast?
get the waitresses. Why are you waiting?
Why?
for the
Yeah.
order?
Why you? Oh, why are you doing it? Why are you having? Yeah. If you want to do this while you wait.
I know
On
what's
my
up
third
that.
refill, they're allowed to ask me, that's all I'm gonna say.
Do we want to talk about anything else? Because I haven't been working on my inventories because we've been kind of consumed with the survey. So I'm assuming everybody else is the same. Except
No.
you've
you're
been
wrong.
working on yours.
I have been working on
Oh, I
mine.
should have known.
Yes, and I just want to say thanks to Bob Knox and Kurt Caldwell because they've been giving me a lot of information about
good job. Nice.
about South Lebanon history that I haven't seen printed up on any of the former reports. So I'm excited to be learning about that.
Okay. Anybody else?
We've been talking about it.
We sure have.
Good start.
Good conversation.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought when you guys walked in today, you're like, oh, so sorry. We
We do text. We try to get together and meet, you
We
know.
were just texting just today.
Contacted anyone about the packet? I think it was supposed to be November that he,
I've gotten nothing from
I'll ask him about it.
him. Have you got anything from Lee J?
Not recently.
Mm-mm. The last thing that I heard that we got was something from DOT, which covered our entire transportation.
Transportation section, yeah. Yep.
And that
Who's doing
was
transportation, yeah?
that was Norm.
Oh, Norm.
Norm, yeah.
That's awesome that they sent that though.
I'll give him a buzz.
So is this the only survey that we're gonna be doing?
No?
So will we be doing separate surveys such as how do you feel about transportation?
Well, there's this is attitudes, and then there's a preference survey, which is a
Oh,
little bit
preference. Okay,
So that's
I got you.
that's a little bit further
I got
down the
you. Yep.
down the road, and I think we need to get a base. We need to take the attitude stuff and get a base, and then we. And again, we have to go back to the book to kind of read it, but my guess is you get a base with that. That helps direct you in a certain direction based on all those responses, and now you can fine tune that with a preference survey.
And that's and I'll have to go back and read what the preference is
So
because I
that's,
forget.
I mean, that's the big picture, but that's the preference survey is, but again, open spaces and parks is something that seems pretty favorable, yet I'm not sure the town has any parks that I know of. I mean, they have a few ball fields, but there's no real,
There's no rec center.
we're talking about a town forest,
Town
we're talking
farm.
about, but again, maybe that's something that, here we always talk about all zoning, but yet there really hasn't been any real discussion about, open spaces or parks or,
Well, I
that kind of
see
stuff.
people looking for commercial zone, basically, and maybe they don't even realize they're talking about zoning, but commercial zone in a
Yep.
downtown district
Yep.
is what
Yep.
I see them asking for.
So, I mean,
yes.
that's why that, and then we try to narrow, I think that in with the preference survey, we try to narrow that down to,
Like where?
so, but that's.
Yeah, because now who does that, who creates, like actually does, I mean, I know it's not us, but I'm just saying, then that kind of gets passed on to like planning board to start looking at that
For
kind of zoning?
No, so the comprehensive plan doesn't, I mean.
Right, I know that, I know it's different, I'm
No,
just
so what
wondering
is, so,
at what point.
well, then it goes to selectmen. So once the comprehensive plan has, we think that you ought to have zoning, we think you ought to have a commercial zone on 202.
Right,
Maybe that's what it says.
Mhm.
Then it's up to the select board to then say, okay, seems like the residents want a commercial zone on 202, so what do we do about that? Select board may say, we're not gonna do anything, or they may say, well, let's
Put it on the ballot.
put some sort of a zoning on the ballot for that, or, do that in residence or whatever, and then
or they
the
could
people
say
have
we're
to- the
doing
people
nothing until everybody figures out
the
how to fund
the
it,
people have to vote for that.
just saying.
So, I mean, and so if they put it, then the people vote for it, and then that's how it actually happens. But,
You see the governor, everybody voted for the health care thing,
no, I don't.
and he won't do anything until it's funded, it was a joke. Simple.
so,
They
yeah,
follow too much politics.
but that's not planning board. I mean, the selectmen could, if they felt they wanted to have the planning board look at something, but the planning board doesn't really do zoning.
I was just wondering where it go. No, I don't wanna do, I was just wondering, because I've been asked, so what if you create this? Where does it go from there, because people want to know, you're creating a comprehensive plan. Good job. Like,
I mean, well,
who's going to
it
look
can-
at it? What is it used for?
It's supposed to be a guide for the leaders in town. And it's basically, and if it's done correctly, it's a guide of what the people in town want.
Right.
And
So,
how
I mean-
things should be done?
Which
or
is how it
not?
should be.
Well, not necessarily how things should be done. It's just because it's a bigger picture. So, but I mean, again, if they want open spaces and parks, it's not going to tell you how to do it,
Or
but
where
it's
they
going
do
to
it.
say or where to do it. But it's going to say the people want this, and so
Then
then
figure
it's
out
up.
how to do it.
It's up to the selectmen to then figure out
Figure
whether
out.
it be through an ordinance, whether it be through, let's put together, a land buying account, and we'll add some money to it each year, so that we can then buy a chunk of land for parks or whatever, or I don't know. I mean, I'm just,
Right.
Right.
but that's for the selectmen to.
Yeah, I just
Decided.
wasn't sure where, because people were asking me, so you're going to write this report, you're going to spend hours and hours writing this
I mean,
report, and what does it get used for?
Hopefully, I mean, it all depends on who the board is at the time. I mean, it could sit there and collect dust and everybody ignores it.
Like the 1991.
Sarah for president.
Or it can be, or if you have a good board, they realize that's what the people want, and they try to do something. But they may try to implement a few things, and if the people vote against it, well then one's got to wonder, well then was the plan really
It's worth
Worth
doing.
it, right.
well
It's
was
worth
it
a
worth it
try.
or was it really accurate?
As
I mean,
comprehensive as it could have been.
Right, because
So-
it should it should get voted in if that's what people are
that's
thinking,
what
and
people
and
are.
we did it at voting, so those are the kind of people that show up
Right.
to vote.
So yeah.
Plus, it's supposed to support zoning and.
Well, there's a
Legal.
legal side behind zoning where that's where if you're gonna have zoning, you really need to have that comprehensive plan that backs the ordinance.
Right.
And that's
The
those
yeah.
two sources that helps provide the legal basis for zoning. But if everybody were to come back with this and say, I don't want any zoning, let people do whatever they want.
Then
let
we
them put
just
in-
kind of check
well,
that
then
off. There's
if,
nothing we can do about it.
then maybe zoning's not a big issue.
Right.
Maybe they just want a big park. I don't know. I mean,
And a downtown. A village.
So-
Park downtown.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't
so
know
merry
because
round.
the question restricting
I like
large scale commercial growth to specific areas was number one at 82
Yeah.
and 50.3%. That says zoning all over it.
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean, although something to think of mine, and it didn't dawn on me at the time, there was a question, what do you like, or what are the, what can you change, select many or whatever? So,
Yeah.
but it didn't say up or down,
Right.
so.
And that's what I said.
What would you like to change?
It says
commercial
commercial
growth.
development.
Is
Do you
that-
want more?
Do you want more or do you want less?
Oh yeah,
Right.
but
It
I think
doesn't
when you
really-
say growth, they think up.
No, it says it's not commercial growth. It's commercial development.
So-
and it says, do you want to change?
Oh, to
I
make
may,
more of
I
it or
may
less of
imply
it.
more of it, do you want more of it?
What is
but
the
it's
one thing
not
you would like
really-
to change about Lebanon?
I don't think a lot of people want more. More people
They
want
want to change zoning,
Well, I mean,
on
lately
202.
we've been hearing a lot of people talking about the need for commercial growth to keep residential taxes down. So that's what I'm saying is I don't know which way that's actually meant.
Well,
you
listen
know?
to this. This is different. So, in the same note that they said that they want to restrict commercial growth to a specific area, so zoning.
Right.
The next question.
They've also said number 4, because that was number 1. The fourth one was attracting businesses at 42.9, but
They didn't say they didn't want them.
they also
But then-
said
Commercial development.
too, though.
that
or
they
something.
want to. Hold on, where is it?
Number
Attracting
4.
businesses at 42.9, and then, but they don't want to expand the variety and availability of retail goods and services. So that
Right,
doesn't make
so-
any sense.
Sure it does, because they're saying
Well,
they
it's
don't want-
manufacturing
They don't want
business.
maybe
They don't
big
want, they don't want
ones.
Walmart, they
Walmart.
don't want Dollar Generals, they don't want.
And they want growth, but they want it in an area, one area. They
Right,
don't want it
one
everywhere.
Don't want it
On
next to me.
202.
They don't want
They
retail
don't-
stores and stuff like that. They want businesses where
Manufacturing,
they
you
can
know,
go
that
to
kind of,
work.
some machine shop or, that kind of.
And you also have to remember that it might not be the same person that voted here because
Right, because these were select all
Right.
that apply.
right. So it's not like they were creating a vacuum.
I like
there.
the select all that apply though.
I
Because
do
it gave
too.
us a better idea of what people like and what they don't like.
Yeah, better than.
Now, one issue is what to do with the write-ins, and I think I remember I said I would make a list or a table of those.
You're able to write it in online on the survey, and then it Chip just was able to read those write-ins
Right. Well,
to us.
it would probably be helpful if I'll try starting in on that. See if there are groups, kind of topics that, like this says, less law enforcement.
Less.
Yeah, that's right here. Maybe that's anyway. Start to make. I guess what I'm suggesting is that if anybody else is interested in trying to categorize the write-ins they have on their forms, that would be helpful. So here's a category: less law enforcement.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be able to download in an Excel spreadsheet all the data, and then we can maybe do some of it, and I can even do different charts than what are shown there with that data, and so. But,
Right, because I heard you reading them, and it was
It's a
like
big variety.
police department, more police officers, our own
so
police.
there's a bunch of
those are all police.
That's right. And so you can, if you have it in a spreadsheet, you can even just create another column and then just put X's for police, and that way you can tally those up, and
How many of
it's
each?
a lot easier than. But
That's
it's when you have all the data, so kind of, I wouldn't worry about that until we have.
Yeah, that's a good idea. If we just
Okay.
enter everything and then dump those into spreadsheets and
And
try
then I
to.
just have a spreadsheet, then we can kind of work with the numbers and once we do there, but there's no sense in doing it as it's a moving target because,
Yeah, we gotta wait till it's
I just.
One,
I don't remember the day that we said we were gonna be done with this.
So
Well,
these-
January, I was shooting for January 1st or December 31st.
So we're very close.
So Harvey, what happened is when
Time.
Sarah went in and entered a ton of them, everything is dumped in that we write. So if you sit and organize your categories, we're gonna have to reorganize them with all of them.
Right.
So all of us just dump it into the computer.
Yeah, right now I just put the raw data in.
And then he'll print it out and then we can
Then
go through that after.
Then if you want, you could take all of that and organize
Do we
it.
wanna
We'll
leave-
all let you.
Do we
We
have
can
a
put it-
space in the town hall where we can leave these completed surveys?
They
And then
won't get
as you
lost.
Put them up there for now.
okay, as you enter your surveys, if you guys can just fold them and bring them back, because I want to make sure we
That
keep
may be too small, I don't know.
the hard copy.
Yep, too small.
What if we go on the side right here?
Here,
Just put it up there, I'll find a place.
I don't want to carry them back and forth.
No, I don't blame you.
So if you can just bring those surveys back after you enter them.
folded.
So, alright, bring them to the next meeting.
It's
Fold them.
last in my
You don't
house.
have to fold. I just folded them because I had,
That's a nice way to.
what's already been entered.
Oh, yeah, I like.
Yeah, the last thing we want to do is lose
Free.
track of
Too much government.
what's
It's a
entered.
lot. Thank you guys for.
Well, I think that's a decent amount of surveys, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
so
I do think that we need to.
we're gonna throw out another email. So again, we can do it almost weekly, every 2 weeks, something like that. We're also gonna put some of these in all the newsletter boxes, so, we'll have another newsletter out here probably.
Did you put it
first of
in the
year.
newsletter that we are doing this?
But I think we also have.
Well, we
to
didn't
figure
have
out
the
a way
website
to
at that
get
time.
Some
I
of these younger people. We have to figure out a way to get some of that
But
young.
I wanna put the actual surveys in the newsletter boxes.
Right.
So
At
they
the
can-
dump and
so
stuff like
at
that,
all the
right?
different
Yeah,
locations,
but
so they can
that's
take
why.
them.
Code is
It's only gotta be till the first of the year, and then they'll
Right.
stay in place with a new newsletter.
Well,
That's true.
It's two more than
I forget it. Two more. is
No, but
good.
they might have friends who live in town too.
You haven't met her kid? He has no friends. No.
No, I'm talking about the workers at the
Yeah,
Interestingly, though,
her sons are friends,
so
right?
here's, I gotta get some more information on the data, so interestingly
I
though,
love it.
I know
what
you
this
do.
does,
I know you're being quiet.
there is there's a field on the data, cause I had already downloaded some of this data, that talks about, the city and the state, and I don't know where it's the URL. So I've got Sunapee, New Hampshire, I got Virginia, I got Sanford, Maine, Barrington, New Hampshire, Springfield, New Hampshire,
What is it?
Alston, Mass. That's So I think so again, I don't know whether they're taking it on their phone and it depends on where.
Oh,
It could be
I
that.
bet.
It could be a summer resident that saw it online, so they get the notification, and so they're doing it. But now they're in Massachusetts, so But it's just I thought it was interesting. I have this. There's a ton of North Berwicks here, so a ton of North Berwicks. So I don't know what's.
So sometimes my phone says I'm in Milton, New Hampshire.
Okay.
9 times out of 10, just
me
because of
too.
where I live. So if they live on the North Berwick side of Lebanon, it's putting them in North
They grab
Berwick.
that tower.
Do you have in New York? Because
Well,
that's what my phone tells me.
there's that, and there's a ton of Barrington, New Hampshire.
So maybe
Yeah.
those people work in Barrington at like
Or-
Turbo Cam.
Or work in Rochester.
Well, no, I mean, what I'm thinking is it's their internet.
They're doing it at work or where their internet. Oh,
Right, yeah.
Barrington or
So it's their
something.
internet, but I mean, this would be you entering. So how are you entering? And where are you entering?
Wherever
Milton.
I happen to be, but mine will say Milton, or it would say Dover, because
It'll
of
be
my
interesting
office.
after we all go home and enter.
So where are you
elections to
entering?
see
I
where
don't
we're
know.
at.
Where
I
those
think
come-
that might be
where's
why it's
Happy?
picking up a big chunk of North Berwick, because you may have been entering a chunk when you were there, or a big chunk in Barrington, or that's just where you were happened to connect. So I don't know, but anyways,
It'll be interesting.
I just
My
thought that was-
internet, for some reason, because it's through what that thing I told you about, it always tells people that I'm checking in from New York, not constantly.
Yep. Anyways,
So they're all gonna come in as New York.
Yeah.
so
Well, that's cool.
Alright, we have our homework.
what's the next step?
I don't know.
Probably next week I can get a lot of these in the newsletter boxes,
Cigars.
so I can start getting those out. We'll send out another email for
Sounds like
online
that.
stuff for people to survey.
Not a pizza place, a good pizza place, sorry.
I don't know what else
Is that a
is.
funny
We got
one?
people entering data.
I
What else?
didn't read that.
It sounds good. What's the one thing you'd like to see for the future of Lebanon? A Holy Rosary Credit Union. More businesses. A Holy Rosary Credit Union ATM. Here. A Northeast Credit Union
Here.
ATM. Here. A cigar store. Auto parts
cigar?
store.
It sounds like
And
Rochester
a good pizza
Center.
place.
In a good pizza place.
We do need a good pizza
That's
place.
the gas
We need a
store.
noise
We also
ordinance.
need a Subway.
A noise ordinance. That's interesting. I've heard several people comment about.
Yeah, I
They
heard
have
people
it.
that live on
No.
somebody
But we
complained
do
to me
need
about
one.
where they live right off from 202 on Bigelow Road, and like the 18 wheelers, they have to give it something to get up the hill near a restaurant, and then they make that
Jake
noise.
Brake.
That's the air brakes,
The
yeah.
Jake-
Yeah,
Jake
bang, bang,
Brake.
bang, 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 yeah. In a lot of places they say
That's right where I live, and I'm
A lot
gonna
of
tell you,
people
I am up like 4 or 5 o'clock, and
you don't hear
I'm
it.
up all night, and I very seldom do I hear them
Okay.
excessive Jake Brake. I mean, I hear them because they have to slow down, otherwise they're going off the
Yeah.
No, they say when
bridge,
they're going up. When they go up.
Well, they wouldn't be using the Jake Brake.
Or
going
then
up.
it's something else they use. They're saying they have to
Unless
give
it's
it
just when
some.
they shift and
This is what one couple said.
Downshifting, yeah.
Downshifting. Maybe this is what this couple said when we were voting. They said they're not originally from here. They've only lived here like a few years, but that was their only complaint.
Yeah. Huh.
So well, that's
No, if they were going down the hill, they would use the Jake Brake, but maybe they.
When they go up, they have to.
Yeah,
I
but
should
that
have
goes.
said they
That's how it sounds.
Yeah, we listen
Yeah,
to the
it's
train, but
I can
but
hear
it-
from my house.
No, they don't.
can't
Come
really do anything
outside.
about
I'm
that.
quite a ways away, so I can imagine what it sounds like.
Yep.
That train those lights get stuck sometimes. Are you talking about by our
Yeah,
house?
yeah.
Yeah, it gets stuck sometimes, and it's just running for nothing. I would hate to live down there.
Yeah.
Okay, but so I'll probably work on my inventories a little bit since you guys just took those entering those surveys off my plate.
Mhm.
But when do we want to meet again?
Did I give you one of these?
You did. I have one.
After the holiday.
After the Thanksgiving.
After the holiday.
Thanksgiving.
Oh,
I'm thinking so. Because it's kind of
2 weeks,
Thanksgiving's
2
only
weeks or
2
3 weeks?
Next week's Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Yeah, next week is Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Anybody
right.
want to
I'm
buy
already-
any
it's
do
already
you
tickets?
have one?
Yeah, it's already in my calendar.
What do we got, Peggy?
Oh, did not go in. Wrong
What's
place.
Thanksgiving, the 23rd.
Next week.
Yes, the 20.
So why don't we do what if we do the 28th and then at that point we'll determine if we're going to meet again until after the holidays because it gets kind of crazy for people during the holidays with commitments.
That sounds spectacular.
The 28th.
Yeah,
All of
no,
our
the only,
surveys in by then?
Yeah, I mean, we can touch on
You need-
surveys, I think we
I'll have
probably
to find
really need to
tonight.
retouch base
Anybody
on,
needs
on,
help with
Tuesday
surveys?
the
on
28th.
inventories.
We should reach out to each other.
I think we really need to touch base on inventories and just get a handle on where people are,
Yep.
who needs help or,
I need
Or-
to get with the code enforcement officer, but he's so part time. Is he gonna have time to make an appointment with me?
The word
I may need help
appointment
on my
means
stuff
I'm
and I
making
know
time
somebody
for
that might
you.
help me.
I know.
Say it again?
I may need help on some of my stuff, so just,
Chicken
just,
was done.
yeah.
I need help with myself too.
That's
Just
why
running-
we're
just
making
running out
an
of- It's running out of
appointment.
time, I'm running a town and I don't have
An
time.
appointment means
I
I'm
wonder why.
making time for you.
And I got a real job on the side.
No, that's okay. I schedule something with you because it's
Or
almost me
just
like
a-
Peggy
just
and
a-
I, boom.
I told
Remote
Gary I'd
thing
call
not to
when the
meet up
chicken
with.
was. We had to close the meeting before we talked about this. I told him I'd call him when the chicken was done, so he could take it out of the oven. Yeah, I'm thinking I haven't burnt
Tell them
hard.
to watch the video, then you tell them.
Have you done the online oak thing?
So 28th at 6, is that the game plan?
28
at
6.
Okay.
Ladies, 28th at 6, you got that?
28th, 26th?
28th at 6.
Got it.
The
At
28th is a Tuesday.
So
So Tuesday.
2 weeks from
2
today.
weeks from today.
All right. Is everybody bringing like leftover dessert?
We all bring high.
It would be 5 days.
Just saying, I do like sweets.
Well, you're the one
Gonna
that
put
owns
it
the
out
restaurant, like,
Right.
just saying.
Motion to adjourn?
Assuming we got something good.
Second it.
Okay, close.
When I got sworn into this committee meeting thing, the lady said, gave me a
Oh
piece
shoot,
of
I did that a
paper.
long time ago. I gotta pass that in. It's been done a long. Oh,
Yeah, I
did it.
found it and going through everything.
Oh, you know, I found mine too, and I said I gotta bring that down.
Okay, she
Yeah,
got
I got sworn in. Like,
I
there's
got
something
sworn in,
about
but yeah,
it
you have to go
online,
online.
read.
Did you read it?
Yeah,
And
it was
then
like
on
August,
Tuesday,